Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what I'm really excited is the first of, I think, a whole series of webinars that I'd like to offer about a variety of different topics. And tonight's topic is Bible visualization using artificial intelligence. And so, what I'd like to go ahead and do is share the screen, and I have emailed you all a link. Actually, I think I didn't get this link emailed to you, Julie. So let me put it into chat. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I will start here and I'm going to go ahead and put this link into chat. So all of the apps that I'm going to be talking about today are linked on this webpage. And what I'm going to do is just basically kind of share a little bit of an overview, and then we'll jump into it. The main part of this is going to be demonstrating on my phone. So we are talking about Bible verse visualization when there's a lot of ways to do that. But tonight we're going to talk specifically about using artificial intelligence. And so as an outline, I'd like to basically just briefly talk about why share the Bible on social media. Since you're here, I think you're already interested in this topic and you may not need to be sold on it, but I'll just share a few ideas about that with you. Then I want to show you some examples. And the main part of what I want to do for our 30 minutes together is do some demos. And the main demo I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you how I have been doing this for the last few months, I guess. I have been sharing Bible verses on social media with images for years. In fact, I think I have 992 Bible verse images in this like iCloud shared photo album that I have given you the link to. But artificial intelligence and our ability to access it so readily is something that's relatively new. And so again, I want to encourage you to use the chat. I'm having to actually share my phone tonight, and usually I use my phone and a couple screens, and so I'm on one screen tonight. So I will be doing my best to field questions in the chat, and I should be able to see those pop up. I think I'll get a little red circle. So please just click over in the chat and put any questions that you have kind of as we go through this. So I guess I'll show you a bunch of examples, but in terms of tips, I call what we're about to do with Bible verses an info pic, which is just basically a picture, an image that has information, and in this case, it is a Bible verse. And so when I teach students how to do this, and at my previous school in Oklahoma, that was an Episcopal day school, and kids were required to take Bible, and so I actually taught my InfoPix lesson using Bible verses. I'm now teaching at a secular school here in North Carolina, so this is a very useful media product to be able to create, and the way that I do it the most is with Bible verses. I don't make one every day, but I make a few a week, and so these are just some tips to put your text box in a part that ideally has solid color. This info pic, which is a photograph of our daughter Rachel and I, is not a Bible verse, but it is an info pic. It's a quote from Francis Chan. You want to try to use a contrasting color because, of course, the idea here is you want people to be able to read those verses. You don't want to pick a complicated font. When I teach middle schoolers, that's a big thing to mention because sometimes I'll just use like super fancy fonts. But the key is really contrast, and you can change the background of the actual text that you're putting onto your picture in some different ways in order to create some contrast. So those are just a few tips that you can keep in mind. So this is the web link that I have provided you with, and I will follow up tonight's webinar with a link to not only this page, so you can get here to these resources, but also I'll share with both of you the recording that I'm having. So if you want to go back and review this, you can. I was originally going to, I decided I'm going to be making my webinars free, and then for people who don't have a free ticket for recordings, I'm considering, making those available for people to buy, but you all are here free, and so you're going to have access to this. So the resources that I have here are some examples. the book chapter that I wrote actually quite a while ago, and I'm going to be updating to include AI. A little bit of a dated video where I went through this with some other apps that have changed a little bit, but it's a 7-minute video that kind of takes us through this, and then a website that I have for talking about InfoPix. But then these are the apps that I'm going to actually use and demonstrate. So let me show you some examples. I have been in the habit of sharing the InfoPix that I create on my iPhone directly to this shared library on iCloud. And it takes a minute or two for it to load up, hopefully just a few seconds, because there are a ton of pictures here. But one of the things that there are multiple places and multiple ways that we can share our InfoPix. And one of the things that's kind of neat, and there's only a couple people that are subscribed to this, you have to have somebody's actual Apple ID email or iCloud account in order to have them subscribe. But they get a little message whenever a new picture is added to this album. We have some of these for our family, and we'll use this across the country to be able to share images and have those pop up and be able to share those. While we wait for that to load, I'll go ahead and go to this one because I think it's going to be faster. Another place where I've shared InfoPix in the past is on this website called Flickr. I've shared tens of thousands of pictures here, I guess, since 2005. This is an InfoPix. All right, we've got a photograph, we have a Bible verse, and then we have the citation of where that Bible verse is from. You can see there in the corner, this was created with an app called Adobe Spark, and Adobe has changed it a little bit. But these are not AI pictures. These are photographs that in some cases I took, but in a lot of cases I obtained these on a website called Unsplash, which is a website where the photographs are just given away. And as I have taught this process for how to create these InfoPix, and still as I teach students, a lot of times we're using pictures that other people have taken. But certainly we can use pictures that we have taken. In the early days, we'll say, a number of years ago when I started doing this, I tended to put too much text, I think, on the images. And what I really try to do now is limit the amount of text that I have, in part because our brains are lazy, but it's just also to really hone in on the message that I want to go ahead and share. All right, so these are now loaded, yay. So here is the iCloud library, and like I said, it's on that website. You can click on these links. This one on the left is a picture from our church service a couple weeks ago when LaWonder was preaching, and so I just included a quotation from her. But here on the right, we're going to start to see some AI InfoPix. So this verse from Mark 5:19, go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you. This is when the man who had the demon that I think jumped into the pigs, and then the pigs ran off the cliff. I actually asked ChatGPT to visualize that image, but then I asked it to change it up quite a bit, and that's one of the things that I'll try and demonstrate for you is how you can do that with AI. Here's another verse from Mark: the child is not dead but sleeping. These images all here on the top are all created with AI, and so I put the verse in, but in some cases told it exactly how I wanted the image. This one here on the right is my wife Shelley and our daughter Sarah at Garden of the Gods back in August or September we were there. And so you've got a lot of flexibility with the process that I'm going to be showing. The images that are in the middle and on the right are both created with AI. This one on the left is our daughter when she was in basic training going through the assault course. So lots and lots of examples of InfoPix, and you'll be able to probably notice if you end up scrolling through these that I try to use less text, and that was just something. Now it's super interesting how AI visualizes things, right? And in some cases I have actually told it to visualize with an African American, with a diverse group. This picture here, that's a real picture from the Civil Rights Movement and the Children's March in Birmingham. But But again, we're kind of interspersed in between. Okay, so again, please use the chat and drop any questions that you have. I'm going to link here to this book chapter. So I have an entire book that is called Pocket Share Jesus, Be a Digital Witness for Christ. And in the book, you can click here. I don't have it on Amazon yet, and my goal is to get it on there before the summer. I've been working on this for probably now 12 years, and I've really had everything done for a while except for the last 3 chapters. In the book, there are some things called preparations and then projects. And this is chapter 6, which is the chapter on InfoPix. And I mean, the summary of why to do this is because, the Bible is powerful, and the words of God in the Bible have the ability to transform our lives and to transform the lives of others. And it can be, and it has been for me in my life, a scary thing to think about sharing a Bible verse on my Facebook page, in part because I now consider myself to be a bit of a more integrated person, but for a lot of my life, the things I did at church were on Sundays and Wednesdays. And so when I thought about sharing my Bible verses, with other people, because there's a diverse group of people I'm connected to on Facebook, that wasn't something that at one point I felt very comfortable with. So I just think it is a journey, but we are called as Christians to share the Word of God, to share the good news of Jesus Christ. And one of the ways that we can do that is by sharing Bible verses. And when we put a Bible verse with an image, we can really, I think, potentially connect to somebody's heart and certainly through their eyes, in a more powerful way than if we were just using text. So you can read this chapter. This entire book is available free. Like I said, I don't have it on Amazon yet. I've self-published several books. My first was back in 2011, and then another one in 2013. And so this is my project. My mantra I've asked Shelley to tell me over and over again, my wife, this year is write the books, and I've got to get this one finished. And so even tonight is hopefully going to be a catalyst for me to go ahead and get this finished. So what I would like to do now is go ahead and go through these apps, and I'm going to show you these apps on my phone. And I am hoping that my screen share is going to be successful here, and we're going to be able to see, ta-da, my phone just popped up there. Isn't that lovely? So here we are looking at my phone, and one of the things that I'm actually unsure about, and let me just confirm this with chat because this is not going to be helpful if you can't see that. Can one of you just confirm with me, were you able to see my phone when I put it up there? I'm pretty sure that you can because I've said to share my entire screen. Yay, it does. Thank you so much for confirming. Okay, so let's do this again. We'll go ahead and flip over here, and ta-da, here is my phone. Okay, so the primary apps that we're going to use, I'm going to be using this app, which is called the YouVersion Bible app. This is one that's actually, we learned about in Oklahoma City. It is a free app that's available for Android and iPhone, and it has all kinds of different versions and languages of the Bible. Actually, why don't you all go ahead and put in, if you want to, a Bible verse that you'd like me to make a InfoPic out of. And I think I actually have to, but it's pretty quick. I'll have to get out of this app in order to see your chat. But if you want to go ahead and put in a verse, I'll take requests, and we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to be using that app. I'm also going, I'll mention this. One of the apps that I use frequently is this Pray As You Go. This is a free app from the Jesuits of Britain, and it's really a lovely meditation that is usually somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes long. And these they start out with a chiming bell, and they aren't as much a sermon as they are a meditation. And so this was the verse for today. It was Luke 9:22 through 25. And so what I actually did, and I'll show you this on my phone, is I created this InfoPic today. Okay, this is the one that I created this morning with AI. Although I did not query it to change that picture very much. And so that's one of the things that I'll show you how to do. You certainly need to, if you're not using a picture that you have yourself, or a picture that you can find somewhere, the website, and I'll mention, is called Unsplash. This is my favorite app to use for getting pictures. And so it really just depends, what you're looking for. All of the pictures on this app are licensed for free use. And so you can even sell these if you want to. But, I don't always find the right picture that I'm looking for when I search for them. And so with AI, we have the opportunity to, be able to have it create a custom image for us that is hopefully exactly what we are looking for. So here is this was my dialogue this morning with ChatGPT. I'm using the ChatGPT app, and to be clear, I am paying for the advanced version of this. So I am paying $20 a month to be able to have the advanced version. I'm going to mention a Google product called Duet AI that is part of the Google Slides app that you can use. But this is the way that I'm doing this daily. So I have created this little, it's called a custom GPT, and I have it ask me what aspect ratio I want, and I usually just do square. And then it says, how would you like that image? And in this case, I said 3. I'd like an oil painting style image. And so then it prompts me, please share the phrase. And so I gave the verse. It's Luke 9:23. Then he said to them all, if any of you want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. And so it created that visualization. And so what I then did was I saved this image to my iPhone. And then I used an app, and I'm going to, again, demonstrate this whole process with another verse. I used the app called Adobe Express. Now, Adobe Express is available free, and these are all my projects that I've made. You can see all these info pics that we can scroll through. It's available for iPhone and for Android, and so this is where I edited the picture today. I made it, and so that is what I am going to go ahead and do right now live for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and we'll go over to chat. Ooh, and I don't know if we've got a verse that anybody said. Yes, good question. If we use, oh, no, we do. We got some verses. Okay, Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. So yes, Canva is a great app to use. I have not used the iPhone version of Canva. I use it a lot on the computer, and I teach that all to all of my students now. So there are definitely multiple ways that you can be, creating these, and Canva is a really, really wonderful option as well. Okay, so the verse request that I saw was Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. So I'm going to go ahead and select that verse, and this particular app does let me create an account, and you can connect to other people and see the verses that they're sharing. It really is wonderful. And I probably should do a whole session just on the YouVersion Bible app. Oops, and I missed 8 and 9. Okay, so let's take a look at what those are. Yea, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. So I'm going to have to decide how much of this I would like. I could put the whole thing into the verse. And actually, when I visualize it, maybe I will do that. I'll put both verses into the AI, into ChatGPT, to have it visualize, and then I'll just shorten it and not use the whole thing when I put the actual text on my picture. So I'm going to go ahead and copy those verses. That's copied to the clipboard of my phone. And now I'm going to open up ChatGPT, and I'm going to, if you wanted to, if you're not doing, I will give the link to this. I'll add it actually to the website that I've created. This is an image visualization, just custom GPT that I've made. And so I just have it so I can tap, and it says, what's the aspect ratio you want? And it'll come up and give me these choices. It doesn't actually completely follow these, incidentally. Because sometimes I ask for a really narrow one, like a banner. And I should have asked you this, but So I'm going to go for photorealistic this time, but you can ask for just about any style you want. A sketch, I just put these in so that I would have this as a prompt. Oil painting, comic book, watercolor, pixel art, surrealistic, impressionistic, cartoon style, or digital art. And I'll play with this a little bit and we'll do some different styles. So I say photorealistic and it says, please share the verse that you'd like. And so I'm going to paste in those verses that I just copied from my Bible app. And so now it is creating this image. What's kind of mind-blowing about this is as I do this, I don't have any idea really how many different computers are being accessed out in the cloud. This isn't being processed here on my phone, and it happens so fast because it's being processed from some really fast computers. Okay, that's interesting that it put text on it. So it gave me a visualization, but it started to put on the text. And one of the reasons I don't like it to actually put the text on, this is a really cool picture, is that it doesn't spell the words right. And I don't think I've ever seen it do that before. So I'm going to use my voice and tell it, this is great, but I do not want the text of the verse on the picture, comma. Can you just share that picture with me, period. That picture looks great. Okay, so this is why AI is, if you've heard of people talking about a chatbot, and I should have probably asked at the beginning, how many of you have used this? It is an interactive activity. So yes, you can simply just take the first thing that it gives you, but you can also do this iteratively, and you can have the chatbot or the AI customize it. And sometimes I'll go back and forth, 5 or 6 different times. All right, so here's an image. Now you notice it's not the same one. It always does it a little bit differently, but that's okay. I can work with that. That's interesting. But that looks fake because what are all these clouds doing outside the Earth? So I think I'm going to tell it that. I'm going to say, this picture looks fake because these clouds should not be in orbit around the Earth, comma. Can you please just give me a picture looking down at the Earth with clouds and sunset, but not from space? I think I cut myself off on that last one. Sometimes Siri is not that great. This is actually a speech-to-text engine that OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, have created. There's another app, I don't remember what it's called, that you can use for that. But anyway, all this stuff is really just getting better and better for the most part. There's some interesting things that are going on because of some lawsuits that the New York Times has against ChatGPT. But all right, I think this one is looking a little bit better. So I'm going to go with this. I could continue to say, hey, can you change this? Can you change that? But I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go ahead and click in the corner and say, I want to save image. And when I do that, this image is now in my photo roll. So when I come here, not to that album, but just to my photo roll, there's the picture that I created, and I'm ready to modify it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just copy this first verse, and I'm going to use part of that. And this is really the heart of what I want to teach you, and it is how do I use this app called Adobe Express. I will be recording an updated version of the video that I linked on the website. It's a few years old. This used to be called Adobe Spark. But I click plus, and then I just say, I want to go to my photos. And I select the photo that I would like to use as my background picture. And I can choose what size I want, and I usually just go with an Instagram size, which is a square image, and I say done. Now it says double tap to add text. So I double tap, and I tap and paste, and here is the verse. But I'm going to take out the NRSV reference and the Bible verse link, and I could leave this entire thing, but I think that I'm going to just leave this and do ... For my thoughts are not your thoughts, okay? And leave it to say Isaiah. All right, now this is where, and I think I need to double tap that. And I don't know what you call it when the quotations go the wrong way, but sometimes I have to do that so the quotes are going to go the right way. Okay, that is not super visible. I am going to need to do some things to increase the contrast and make this more visible. And the app has just come up with a color and a font, but I can customize all of that. So when I choose font, sometimes I like to use sort of thicker fonts. I don't know. I kind of like that one a little bit. This is where this is very artsy, right? What do you think looks good? But I still can't really read that as easily as I want to. So I'm going to move over to the edit page. Nope, that's not right. Effects. And I'm going to tap on shape. And as you can see, what happens there is it puts a highlight behind the text and it contrasts. And so it shows up really well. I can click color and flip that. So if I want brown on that light yellow, I kind of like the light on the dark. If I want that to be a different dark, I could, go ahead and select that. I kind of like that. It's going to suggest colors based on the colors that are already in the picture, which is pretty cool. I oftentimes like to choose opacity, and that's how transparent things are. And you can change the opacity of the text or the shape. And so sometimes, you see that, how it makes it invisible? I will drag this a little bit just so we can see through, because we need, I think, to have a little contrast, but sometimes I don't want it to be dominating like that. That would be called 100% opaque or 100% opacity. I'm going to make that a little bit transparent. But to me, that looks good. I like that. Now, I could, move this around. I could have this over here on the side. I can move this wherever I want. And I definitely want people to be able to read this really well, but I want them to be able to see the picture as well. So there's some nice guide markers here. And again, this app is completely free. Adobe Express is free, not just for teachers, it's free for anybody. And the earlier version of this was Adobe Spark. I've used this for years and I absolutely love it. There are more things that you can change down here. You can change alignment, so align left or right. Usually I keep things centered, but it just kind of depends. So you can just tweak this to your heart's content. But when you're satisfied and you think, okay, this looks good, I'm ready to share this, I'll go ahead and click on this upper right corner. There's a button that says down, and I can't really point to that. But what that does is it puts it in my camera roll. So now I have the original picture that I created with AI, and now I have my Bible verse info pick, which again, I'm going to try to use a small number of images, a small number of words with. Now, I'm going to go ahead and select this picture and choose to share it to my shared album. That is the link that I gave you, and I've got, a few different shared albums that I'm putting pictures in, but this is the one I've used the most, and so that picture is going to go into that shared photo album. And now I have to decide where else I want to share this. Now, I usually will get the full verse like this, and as a technique, I like to use the Notes app inside my iPhone, and I can basically compose my entire message here inside the Notes app, and then I can copy and paste it. So I like to put on hashtags. These are less of a big deal on Facebook. I don't use Twitter anymore. I quit Twitter because of Elon's anti-Semitism back in November, but I do use some other apps. And so I'm going to say hashtag Bible verse. I'm going to say hashtag God. I'm going to, I don't want to just do 50 of these. I'll do Jesus. Anything you think somebody might be searching for, if I can spell Jesus right. And then I have a special hashtag DW4JC. That's Digital Witness for Jesus Christ. That's this book that I've been working on, and that you can access now online. And then I'm using the YouVersion Bible, so a lot of times I'll say YouVersion, and if I was using a verse from Pray As You Go, I would say that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, copy it, and now I can go share it on social media. So these are the main apps that I use to share. I am kind of a ridiculous oversharer with things, and I share on most of these. I do share this on my main profile, and so I'm going to choose to share. I have my privacy settings so that I actually have to go in and select the pictures that I want Facebook to have access to. So I give it access to that picture, and now there is that verse. And I'm going to go ahead and paste in that Bible verse. I have created an album here on Facebook for Bible verse info pics. I guess I've shared 472 pictures over the years into that. And if I would want to, I often do this too. I say that my activity is I am reading the Bible. Now, of course, the more things that we teach Facebook, this affects the things Facebook shares with us, right? I'm training the machine here that, hey, I read the Bible and I'm interested in these things. And I could put my location if I want, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and click upload. And so now that image is shared on my Facebook, and anybody who, is coming to my feed or, coming to my profile to see is going to see the pinned post that I have at the top, and then they see that Bible verse. If we scroll down a little bit, I posted a couple things today during the day, and then here's the Bible verse from this morning. Did I not put that in the album? Interesting. Oh, no, I did. Album, okay. So here are the 400 and whatever Bible verse info pics. This is another place where you can see examples that I've shared on Facebook. Okay, some of these I would say definitely too many words. Okay, if I was redoing this one, I would not have as many words. I've really tried to reduce the number of words that I use. But that is basically it. Those are the steps. I do share in other places as well. It is a question: do you want to create like a different Instagram, channel to share those? I've decided that I want to share these Bible verses with the largest group of people that I can. And so rather than create a separate channel, I've just I share that into my regular Instagram with other things that I share, and my Facebook as well. I will post this on LinkedIn. I use a app called Mastodon. The app is actually called Ice Cubes. I guess I'll show you this. This is kind of cool. So I'm gonna post this here on Mastodon. Mastodon, people will say, is sort of like a Twitter replacement. It's different. It connects with something called the Fediverse, and that means that it's open. It's an open source tool that no one owns. Okay, so Elon or Mark Zuckerberg, they don't own this. But here's what's really cool about this. If I scroll down, there's in the corner it says Alt. And for folks who are visually impaired or completely blind, it's good when you share a picture to describe the picture. Well, this particular app uses AI to automatically generate a description, which I think is just absolutely wonderful. So AI described this as an image featuring a sunrise over Earth's horizon with clouds overlaid with the text, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts," Isaiah 55:8. And so I'll go ahead and share that. So that verse is in that info pic is now shared live on the Mastodon account that I have, and there it is. And again, the hashtags, they tend to be bigger, outside of Facebook, I think, right now, but they still affect Facebook. And I could go ahead and post this on Threads and Blue Sky, but looking at our time, I think I am going to go ahead and stop my demo there. So if you have any questions, my webinar will end in 10 minutes. I have to upgrade to go longer. I think that must have come up a little while ago. Why do you include the Uverse link in your post? Good question. It's because I want to allow people to link to that Bible verse. And so here is my Facebook. I'm just W Fryer on Facebook. And so if we scroll down here, people who are seeing this are able to go ahead and click, and YouVersion owns the domain bible.com, and so they can click and go to it. I do it so that people can get more information. I really, really think hyperlinks, of course, they can be dangerous because people can share dangerous things with us, but they can also be wonderful. For instance, here, this was the verse this morning, and so here's the link to the Bible verse, okay, Luke 9:23. Actually 22 through 25 was the verse. But then I've got the link to the devotion from Pray As You Go. And so that is the actual devotion for today on Thursday, February 15th. So great question. Any other questions that you would like to ask? I'm going to go back here and take a look. Canva. Okay, yeah, there's John 3:16. I could have done that one as well. I think I probably better end, in part because I have 2 minutes and 22 seconds left. So the little license that I've got for using this on Zoom lets me do 30-minute webinars. Oh, we got another question. Great. Oh, it's just a thank you. You're so welcome. Again, this website that I've shared with you has links to all those resources that I shared, the iCloud library, the book chapter. This video is a little dated. Again, I'm going to do an updated version of this because I need to put that in my book chapter. I didn't link on this, but this is just a website I started in 2013. It's called Show with Media. There's all these different kinds of media products to make, and InfoPick is the second one. And so this is not specific to Bible verses. This is just general to InfoPicks, but there are some different resources and tools. Canva's listed there. It has a free version, but it's free for education. It's absolutely wonderful. Really, really a great tool to use for sure. Let me see if I've got anything else to mention. I've got links to Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and those other ones. At the very bottom, I've got the link to my after page. So I've just recently updated this. And so my channels for social media are listed here. I do a newsletter on Substack that has mainly to do with media literacy, but these webinars I'm going to continue to promote there and share. The webinars page that you went to, I think, to be able to register was there. I've done a few TEDx talks. You can check those out. I love cooking. Basically all the stuff that I'm into, the podcast that I do with Shelly, those things are all linked there. So we are at the end of our time. I want to thank you for joining us. Let me know if you have questions. I'll follow up with an email. And all my webinars at this point, I've decided to just make them free. And if people want access to the paid version, they can pay for that. So I hope to see you again on another webinar with Wes. Thanks so much. Have a great night.